Now, so let me just quickly generate the link because I believe we're live right now. Okay. All right. So thank you, Jesus. Okay. Okay, so all right, I believe we're live. So let me just quickly get the links out, then we're good to go. Okay. All right.
Sorry, can you give a minute for me to bring light? Or it's bright enough for my side?
Okay, you can bring the light in if you wish.
Yeah.
You can bring the light in.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah, you can just turn off your video and quickly do that now. Thank you. Yeah, so right. Okay. Believe. Okay. I've generated the link, so just for me to send it right now. All right, so I'll be sending out the link right now. I've generated the links. So, okay, YouTube. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining this program, Ray Talk Show this afternoon. I hope we are going to enjoy God in another dimension today in the name of Jesus. So before we move on, I just want to quickly share the links of this program today to my guest so that we can move on and have a nice time. So, Mommy, I have sent the links to you, Ma. You can send it to your people. And also, Sister Adebayo, so you have the link also. Yeah, so I've sent both the YouTube and Facebook. So you can forward it to people so that they can enjoy us. And also we are live on Twitter. All right. Without wasting up any time, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to especially appreciate every one of you whom has been part of this great, wonderful platform from the day one that we've started. I pray God Almighty will continue to bless us in the name of Jesus. This is Real Talk Show. Today, we are going to we are on the concluded part of the section that we've been dealing with, mental health. Thank God for great time we had on men and their mental health. And we also had a wonderful session on women and their mental health. And today, by God's grace, which is the concluding part of the mental health, is children and their mental health. And today, by God's grace, I have two wonderful guests that the Lord is going to use to help us to dissect, to help us to help us in bringing light into what mental health means in the life of our children. And they are experts, and they are Christian, they are expert, and also they are people with great track record when it comes to children development, and children protection, and children mental health. First and foremost, I would like to introduce to you a wonderful sister. I've known her for over 15 years right now. I understand, over 15 years, close to 20, because I remember back in those days we were together in the same choir. And I know some of our colleagues and friends, when they see our face, they will know that this is this person. I know this person. You know, these are the big guns in those days when we were back in Kharkiv. She's the person of Mrs. Omotayo Mala Adebayo. She's an expert when it comes to child protection. So I just want us to signify and say hi to wonderful people. Welcome to this platform, Mrs. Omotayo Mala Adebayo.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for having me today. So great.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. You're so. I mean, I don't know the best way to just describe you, but I just know that the hand of the Lord is upon you, and I believe God is going to use you today to help us to shed some light into this topic. And also, I have my wonderful mommy in the house. Well, she's the wife of our zonal coordinator in Germany zone, and also in this United Kingdom, she has been a strong force when it comes to women and ministers' wives. Also, I think I met her during our anniversary in CAC Wellington, CAC Month of Rebirth Wellington here in the United Kingdom. She came for the women anniversary. We spoke, and she has been an impactful woman. And we had a session on parenting, and during the course of the program, she makes mention of some key points that captivated me. I say, no, mommy must come on this platform. And when I call on her, she really welcomed the idea, and she's here to be a blessing to all of us. And she's the wife of a pastor, and she's also she's also an expert in that field when it comes to child development. So she's the person of Evangelist Mrs. ADEOSUN. Mommy, say hi to the people. Oh, mommy, you are muted, ma.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, ma. All right. Without wasting any time, I believe people are ready for us to dive in. Now, please, I want you to help me to share this program. Please, we are live on YouTube, Pastor Paul Oyinloye, and I'm live also on my Facebook page, Pastor Paul Oyinloye. So the link is out. Please kindly share it for people to join this platform and let them be a blessing. Let them receive the blessing of today. Please, if you have any question in the course of the program, please put it on the comment section, and I will try my possible best to get it across to our guests. And I believe that today God is going to help us through. And before we move on, I would like to make some important announcement to people. Please make sure that this program is shared. That's the only announcement I have. Please share this important program. And that is the only thing I am asking all of you to do. Just share this program. And I pray God Almighty will bless. So in the next 10 minutes, I will give 10 minutes to to each of the guests. So they were going to talk. They have the topic they are going to speak on before we go into the question and answer. So my wonderful sister, Pastor Mrs. Omotayo Maladebayo, she'll be speaking on the impact of parents and society on child protection, the impact of parents and society on child protection. And my mommy will be speaking on children development and the impact and its impact on their mental health, children development and its impact on their mental health. So they both after 10 minutes. So in the course of that, then we begin to go into the real discussion. I think I would like my wonderful sister to come first so that we can able to, then after her, mommy will come up, then we start the discussion. I hope Pastor Mrs. Omotayo Maladebayo, you are ready to open the floor for us, okay? All right. Yes. So I bring to you my wonderful sister. Over to you, ma. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. First of all, thanks for the invite. Thanks for putting this together. Thanks to you for being mindful of the children. We have lots of people that they just feel, children are just children. There are people that can easily be cheated, and then you don't need to make them a priority. And then for this, your real talk, you have deemed it fit to bring together my tribe. Those are children, to talk about them. So I say kudos to you for this. Thank you very much. On behalf of the children world over, we are saying thank you to you, Pastor Paul, for being mindful of us. So yeah, thank you. I've been introduced, and then you all heard my topic talking about the impact of the society, the parents on child protection. So we'll start with, we can't but define who a child is. I know we all know that children are people that come from family. Children are people that we give birth to. Children are just children. Some people don't even know what the age at which they can call people a child. So a child, according to the law, is anybody age of 18, under the age of 18. So if you're under 18, you are still a child, whether you like it or not. Some people say, oh, since I still have my parents, I'm a child. Yeah, we accept, we're not disputing that. But basically, a child is anybody under the age of 18. So, and when we are talking about children, there are people that need to be protected. They need protection from you and I, and especially from their parents, because everything starts from home. So it takes us to defining what we mean by child protection. Child protection is everything. Now I mean everything we do to prevent and respond to violence, exploitation, abuse, and neglect of children. Now, I said to prevent. That means when you prevent something, you don't want to see it happen. What are the things you can prevent? What are the things that can affect a child that we should prevent? How can we prevent them from being engaged in child?
I think the network is freezing. Mommy Adeshin, can you hear me, ma?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. I don't know what's wrong with the network. It's freezing. Sister Tayo, are you there? I think the network is freezing out. Okay, ma. I think maybe we should take you, ma. I understand. Let's just let me just have you, ma. I'm so sorry for that. I think she's definitely going to come back. I think the network is really is really freezing over there. So, and I think our mommy should just help us to take our home session. Then maybe when she comes back, then we take her. Then we now start moving on. So let's just hear mommy on children development and its impact on their mental health. So mommy, just move on.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad and I'm grateful that there can be a topic like this. Many a time that children are looked down onto. They can be seen, but cannot be heard. And I think many of us have grown up in that sense, which is why some of my generation sometimes, even the things that is their entitlement, they feel that they should just look on and people just take it away from them because they have grown up into to be seen and not to be heard. And that's the life of many of the younger ones that we call children, our little people. So I am really grateful for to Pastor Paul Oyinloye for putting a program like this and make it a real talk. Sometimes we talk about children, we don't give room for questions. We don't give room for people to interact. We don't give room for ideas or what people are, the issues that people have concerning it. We don't give them voice. And so we just talk, especially because of from church background. We teach, we preach, we do counseling, we do sermon, but we don't interact to hear people's side. So I'm really grateful that this type of program is called a real talk and that you decide to bring them on. I believe it's the Spirit of God that's really prompts you to be able to put this together. And I'm really grateful. I'm thankful to God and to yourself that you are bold, you are strong, you are ready, that the little people of our time will not be looked away from, but they will be looked after, they will be looked into their life, and there may be change that we actually want to see because they are our tomorrow. So I'm grateful to God and to yourself, sir.
Thank you so much, man.
So the topic before us this afternoon, children and their mental health. How child development, the issues in child development affect their mental health. It is a big topic. If we say mental health, what is mental health? Mental health encompasses their emotional, their psychological, and their social well-being. How it influences their cognition, their perception, and their behavior. So all these three areas we have mentioned, their cognition, their perception, and their behavior, and it also determines how that individual will handle stress or interpersonal relationship and decision making. Many of us did not know it goes this far. When we just see these little people and we think that anyway, they are little, they have no voice, I can just probably do what I want because they can't really argue with me or fight with me. It doesn't go like that. The development that children have when they are young, it goes all the way to adulthood. And if there's any problem in the adulthood, we need to go back to the basic. So what is children's development? I would just like to look at what the Bible says. Being a Christian makes me look back on Bible. Psalm 139 verse 13 and 14 says, "For you have created my innermost being. You knitted me together in my mother's womb." So God carefully created us and knit us together in our mother's womb. He paid close attention into detail. So why are we not paying attention to the development of these our young people? Being someone that studied developmental psychology as part of the modules, developmental psychology, it claims to be the universal science that uncovers the patterns of the individual behavior and the learning of children. It is in this learning, in this research, in these findings that people like Freud, Erikson, Bowlby, Vygotsky, Piaget, to name a few, they did a research on all the children of their time. Even Piaget did a research on his own children. And they find out the things that come together as a study of today. How do children think? What is their need? How can we look after them? What is their need that will help them to become an adult that fulfill potential? So through this research, those facts are being put together. And what are the facts? Developmental psychology, it is the study of their psychological, their cognitive, their social changes. Three things are mentioned there. The social life that they live, which is their environment. The physical life, physical development that they go through, which is maybe the eating, the drinking, and the type of food they eat, the type of house they live. It will help their growing, their physical growing. The social atmosphere, which is the environment, their development will show there as well, because one affects the other. This is the early experience that shaped their later life. Because believe it or not, instruction begins at the early stage. Instruction, even when someone is pregnant at conception, we can speak to the child in the womb, and that child will actually listen and hear it. So can we see the role of adults? That from the time the children are in the womb, when we speak to them, they start to hear the instruction. They start to hear the voice of their parents. They can recognize the voice of their parents. And so when they now come to being, how do we now think that we don't have a detailed part in their life? Developmental needs of children can be physical. It can be in the stages of how they grow, which is biological. It can even be the developmental of their appropriate educational influence. If a child is living in a good home, I mean the environment in the home, that attention is paid to how that children, the emotional part of that child, the physical part of that child, which we know, eating good food, sleeping on time, the parents being there to pay attention, close attention to the children. When the children wants to have someone to speak to or share ideas, those parents have time, give attention. When a child have homework to do, there's someone there to ask. But all these little things, sometimes we don't think they matter, because we see them as little people and we think we have priority over these young ones. Not knowing that these children, if they have love, if they have security, if they have shelter, if they have good food, if they have good education doesn't have to be expensive. If they have parents' role model, which is really important. If they have clothes to wear, it doesn't have to be expensive. If we give them attention and warmth, if there's peace in the home and peace in the environment and in their society, in their near community, if we have compassion for them, when they need attention, if we empathize with them, that will build their emotional health. If we support them, if we give attention to their health, if we help them in their choices, if we show that they are free people, if we show them positive, if they live in a positive environment, if they have good friends because of the environment that we live or the people they mix with, we are patient with them, we show them, we role model patient to them. If we praise them when they do good, when they don't do good, if we tell them off, they will accept that, yes, this is a positive telling off, it's a positive criticism. Because when I did well, I was praised. If we give them reward, and reward doesn't have to be money. Reward can just be a praise. If we motivate them by introducing them to things that will improve their life, give them things that will help them to increase their potentials in life. If we give them protection and security, we don't open them to attack. Attack could be violence in the home. Attack could be violence even in the area that we live, the environment, because that's how some children join gangs. It depends on the environment. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it's part of it. If they have autonomy, we show them that we respect them, and when we are making a decision, we hear their views. If we make them to contribute to their society, if we show them that economic productivity is good, that we don't make them to work when they are young, just because we want them to contribute to the home that they should be a child that is being looked after, not a child that's now take the turn of a parent to bring income to home. So child work is a no-no. Children being given guns to be part of war is a no-no. because they should be allowed to be a child and be able to enjoy their time of being a child, and to be able to grow up to make decisions if they would like to go into the army, to make decisions if they would like to do a particular job, but not to be able to exploit them into just giving them guns or just making them to go and do this just because we are older and we can make decisions on their behalf. We should make sure they have sense of belonging, because a child that's developing has few areas, the challenges that can affect their development. If a child have a disability, physical incapability in form of disability, it can be a challenge to their growing up, or a deterrent in their growth. And so that will result in challenges in their physical or mental health. If a child have a challenges in their genetic, having a genetic diseases, maybe in their biological growth, because we have 3 areas: bio, psychosocial, which means biologically, if they have a challenges, maybe they have genetic problem, then it can be a challenges to their physical health or mental health. If they have sociological problems like environment that I've mentioned, it can be a challenges to their growing up to be an healthy adult. So those are the issues that can crop up and affect the growing of a child to become an adult that actually add positively to society. How can we ensure that this is being looked after? How can we ensure that children, when they are passing through different ages and stages, that they don't run into this? It is by ensuring, and that's the work of the parent, that's the challenges of parents, to ensure that we help them to grow up in a positive environment, that we help them to have good role model, that we help them to be able to have parents that actually pay attention to them, that we help them so that in their making choices, they will see us there, that our role modeling will influence how we do child rearing or the education that they go through. So I'm not sure how many more minutes I have, but the risk factor that affect the development of children, they determine their developmental outcome. The risk they go through when they are growing determine their outcome. So whether positive or negative, it is because of what they go through in their growing.
Thank you so much, Ma. I've put a lot down over here, which I believe by God's grace, we're going to really enjoy God more through you in the next couple of minutes. Thank you so much, Ma, for that wonderful introduction. I believe God is about to cause some change. I think in one of those things that you said there are some things that really that there are some things in which children goes through while growing up that could have adverse effect on their development as they move from one stages to another in the course of their life. And Ma, I would like you to help me with this question. But before you answer the question, I would like Sister Tayo to give his own presentation. Well, I'm going to give you the question so that maybe after our presentation, the next 10 minutes, then we will start our discussion from that end. Thank you so much, Ma, for that. Sister Tayo, I hope your network is now cooperating.
Yeah,
all right.
Nigerian network.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. I don't know why it's frozen. I understand.
Can you
I
hear
understand. Me? Yeah, we can hear you very, very well. But I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well. If you can hear me, I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. So, but before you go on, I want Mommy, please, before Sister, maybe after Sister Tayo, you'll be helping us to answer this question. You know, we're still on this child development, understand? And in my own understanding, I believe development has to do with how you are moving from one stage of life to another. You understand? You know, every child have an expectation. So I want you to help us. In Africa, parents have they have expectation on children. You understand? And so I would like to ask that what are the impact of parental expectation on the child development? So because in Africa, where I came from, you understand, parents have this expectation on their children, even though when they don't know the capacity of the child. You understand? There are some family, they want their child to become a doctor, they want their child to become a lawyer. That's my son, that's my this, that's my that. Thank God for this modern age that we find ourselves that children children who have grown up to adults like us can choose the career they want. But let us go back down the line. What is the impact of parent expectation on child development? What does it really give positive impact on that on child development or negative impact? Because I've seen some people that after they become, like for example, I met a wonderful brother, understand, he's a doctor by God's grace. And after I became a doctor, what he said to me was that he said, Paul, you see, this doctor I became is for my father and for my mom. He said, now that I've become a doctor, now I want to go back and do what I want to become. Now, the question I want to ask is that, then what is the essence of him becoming a doctor? What the essence of him becoming what the parent want him to become when he could not even practice what the parent want him to practice? So what are the side effects of parents wanting the children to become what they want to become, not what the children actually have in mind to become? And how can a parent discover the potential of a child? So I know for you to discover a potential of a child, definitely you have to study the process of development. You understand? So how can a parent be sensitive to know in time that this is actually what this child is professing to become? You understand? So that's the area in which I want you to help us with immediately after our wonderful sister finish with our own presentation. So, Sister Tayo, please. Yeah.
I won't have challenge again. I've swapped the device I'm using. I'm using
Okay.
another one now.
Okay. All right.
So can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Fantastic. So I believe Mommy would have said a bit of what I wanted to say, but because everything is almost interrelated. So I will say the child is anybody under the age of 18 and they need protection from their parents, from neighbors, from their teachers, from everyone within the society, because we all see ourselves as duty bearers, because children are the right holders that should be protected. So child protection is everything we do to prevent and respond to violence, exploitation, and abuse of children, also neglect of children. Now, I said prevention because sometimes we say prevention is better than cure, and that's a very fantastic word. Because if you prevent violence, if you prevent physical violence, maybe you want to scold the child and then you beat the child excessively such that you inflict injury on the child and you have to go to the hospital back and forth, that would have been prevented. Now, prevention of exploitation, we have sexual exploitation, we have online exploitation. Now we have abuse, prevention of abuse. Abuse are in several forms: physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, all sorts of abuse against children. And then talking about neglect, whereby a parent, you give back to your child and you do not deem it fit to take care of that child. So, child protection helps you to prevent all these things that can give you headache or worry later. So it is all we do to prevent abuses against children. So whereby we fail the responsibility of prevention, then we should be able to fill in the gap of response. That means we negligently allow those things to happen. So when it happens, we have the honor, to respond to them, because prevention costs very, very less. It doesn't cost much, to prevent, but it would cost a whole lot to respond to violence, exploitation, abuse, and neglect of children because you do not know the extent to which these things can go. And that you don't know at what point it's going to get out of hand, such that sometimes it might even be irreparable. And you don't want to see the child you have, well brought up, or the child that you taught. This is as a teacher now, because everybody has stakeholders. Or a child you met even in your Sunday school, maybe children's Sunday school, or the child of your friend or your neighbor. You don't want to see them go through stress. So everybody is saddled with the responsibility of prevention and response. Now we have some parents who are totally absent in the lives of their children. They are such that, we have different stages of parenting. That's not what we're discussing today. We have permissive parents, we have, abusive parents, we have lots of that, So there are some parents that are intentional about parenting, and that's the core one that we need right now. Those are the ones that even if I'm in the school of thought of you don't physically abuse a child, beating and all that, but I open my child to discipline. You can help, because discipline sometimes is different. Discipline is different from beating. Personally, I don't really support excessive beating, although in this climate in Nigeria, it is somehow difficult, for you not to raise your hand and scold your child. It's somehow difficult. I want to get there, but it is not really easy. So, but discipline is very, very important for everyone. So as stakeholders, everybody, what is our role for child protection, to protect the children? Now, when you see the next child as somebody who has, or who can affect your child, you will stand up to the parental responsibility where the parent fails. Children meet themselves in different places. If you say, okay, I do not have a problem, or I don't have a child, I don't have to raise anybody, your brother, your sister, your auntie might have a child that you care about, and you want to ensure that that child is in a good mental state. Now, anything talking about protection boils on the rights of children. Children have lots of rights. They have a right to life. So one of the abuses we can prevent is failure to register a child when they give back to them. In this plan, now I'm referring to this plan because some parents are so careless that they don't know that they should do birth registration. Okay, you give back to your child, but you do not appropriately register that child for child to have a certificate, birth certificate. It is until you want to do a process or the other that you now start running helter-skelter. Or maybe all those cards, all those hospital cards, immunization, you don't even keep them appropriately. And then you feel, oh, the child is done with it, I tear it off and I trash it. I mean, that child might need that later in life. So a child has a right to life. And so we have to support the survival and the development of children. Now, they have several rights. I'll just quickly name them. It's just part of child protection, They have right to life, right to good health, right to education, right to communication. Some parents don't even open the communication gap for their children. They don't, allow their children to really talk to them. And this will obviously have adverse effects on children. So children have protection from exploitation. We have rights of children under difficult circumstances. Those are children with disabilities. They didn't ask to be that way. But if you have any of such, you should ensure that you give those guys maximum protection because they are one of the vulnerable, people, and they need to be protected. So as
Nigeria network. Oh God. Okay. All right. You are muted.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. All right. So we have protection, different protection concerns that we have. We have protection of children online. This is an aspect that parents feel, the children are injected. They have more knowledge than us. They can operate all these, devices better than us. So let me give them. They can easily help me do what I don't know how to do. You are exposing them to maximum exploitation online because there are people, their mouths are wide open to feed on your children and get them off track for their destiny, off their track. So those are you need to protect, your children online. We have aspects that has to do with child trafficking. Some people negligently give out their children to the next neighbor in the name of, she likes Auntie Susan. She wants to go stay with Auntie Susan, whether home or abroad, anywhere. You don't know the mind of Auntie Susan towards your child. So the best place a child can live in, that can stay to avoid issues of child protection is in the home, whether you like it or not. I used to give this example. Can a child, let's talk about our time now, can a child in Nigeria, in this present Nigeria we are in right now, stay with maybe another person, another family, and then when you're done eating your dinner, take an example, you take rice and fish, and you feel, oh, that person, your guardian, the box drinks into the fridge, and then it's for visitors, and you feel like, oh, I feel like having a bottle of Coke. And you freely go there and pick up that bottle of Coke. Oh, you will hear.
Yes, now.
I mean, you go here. I mean, the child can never have the audacity to do that. But if you are in your home, you can whine or psych your parent. Mommy, I feel like a bottle of Coke. And your parents will be out of love for you and out of, oh, let me just grant you your heart desire. Oh, you're free. Go take it. So how many children staying with people can get that done? So, these are issues of children are best, they are their best when they stay or when they live with their parents. So it helps, it helps them to develop well, and it helps them to develop better. Now, talking about everybody within the society. Now, neighbors and society, they are the people that help the child in their formation. When the child gets to school, if a parent do not do their responsibility, the next line or shoulder or burden of responsibility automatically falls on the teacher. Take for an example, if a child comes to school and then while you're teaching this child, the child is numb, the child is not talking, the child is absent, the child is saying nothing, while others are responding, the child is crying, you can see little drops of tears. That's not a time for you to pick up your cane or to scold the child. It's a time for you to embrace the child and show love. That is when that responsibility falls on the teacher. Now, every other person, what we are doing now is sensitization, whether we like it or not. We're trying to build the capacity of parents, of everybody to ensure that anytime you contact a child, know that you owe that child duty to take care. You owe the child duty to take care. And that means you have to protect the child from any form of violence, exploitation, abuse, and neglect against them. I don't know how many minutes I still have. I don't know if I can continue.
Yes, you have 2 minutes more. You have 2 minutes more.
Okay, so within that 2 minutes, everybody's child protection can also be called child safeguarding. How to safeguard a child, from various vices. And then the government, we might have anybody here. They have the duty to ensure that if we really want child protection to be a thing that everybody will embrace, we need child protection policies. A single policy can protect every child. That child protection policy will be used in the home, it's going to be used in the school, it's going to be used in the community, it's going to be used in offices, it's going to be used in public places, everywhere where we are, everywhere that we can contact a child, that child protection policy works there. And if you are able to sign that protection policy, the issue of, I want to arrest this person because of what he did. Oh, I don't know. There's nothing like ignorance. I don't know. It's off the track with child protection policy. Once you sign that document, automatically abuse the child face the law. It's very direct. I mean, so it's a fantastic policy, but it's a pity people really don't want to embrace this because they're not ready for the drama of going to court back and forth. But if for a reason you violate child rights, for a reason, ignorance is not an excuse, because right now Pastor Paul is doing all he can to contribute to everybody, getting awareness of how we can protect children, and everybody. So everybody should ensure that they see themselves as a stakeholder in the protection of children.
Thank you so much, Ma. That's a wonderful presentation. I feel like not stopping you, but well, I believe that in the course of the discussion, we're going to have you more. Before the network got frozen the other time, Mommy was talking majorly on child development, and you have just spoken on child protection, and I believe both topics work interwovenly. Now, there's a question I've already given to Mommy. If there's a question I've asked Mommy, and you feel like contributing to the question, you can also contribute to the question. So mommy already have a question already about the how can a parent discern a child potential? This is a Christian platform, I believe. It's a kingdom platform. Let me just use a scenario in the Bible. Jesus Christ, before he was born, there's a prophecy, you understand, that is a savior, you understand. John the Baptist, there's a prophecy that is going to be the forerunner of Christ. The parent knew about it. Samson, the parent knew about it. Now, and when they were given back to you understand, the parents have a role duty to play in making sure that they fulfill the mandate of God. The Bible says that Christ was found in the temple. You understand, even when the parents were being disturbed, and the parent asking, where were you? He said, I'm doing my father's business. So the parent could not scold him. They didn't scold Christ. But the Bible says Jesus Christ followed the parents. You understand? So the way I'm trying to talk about is just that the parent knew exactly what the child is going to become. You understand? So it helps the development of Jesus Christ. The Bible says he grew in wisdom and understanding, and he found favor in the eyes of God and man. Now, mommy, the question I'm not asking as a parent, you understand? I've shared a scenario about people becoming what the parent want them to become. After so many years, they will say, well, I did that because of my parent, but now I want to do what I really want to do. What about all those years you have been trying to do what your parent wanted to become? Like I said, an example, I said a child or maybe an adult became a doctor. And at the end of the day, right inside of him, he knew, you understand, that he wanted to become something else, but he became what the parent wanted him to become. So, mommy, please, I want you to explain to us, please, how can a parent discern, or how can a parent know the right thing to do, in building the potential for a child? Over to you, mommy. You are muted, ma.
Thank you very much. This has been an age-long problem that has been affecting relationship for parents and children. Because the way we see, you mentioned back home in Nigeria. I cannot say Africa because I don't know of other African countries. I only know of Nigeria, being in Nigeria myself. And I know that this has been a fundamental problem because in the home, children are not seen as someone that can share ideas. Their views are not respected. They don't even have a view. They don't have a voice. People decide for them without deciding with them. They don't want to ask a child, will you like to do this? Will you like to do that? Or even pay attention to what their interest is. If a child likes drawing, and you now want the child to drive a plane, and the child is drawing, and the child is particularly in looking at colors, and the child is asking for painting, there is a pattern there. There's a pattern going on there, but it is a very sorry state. And it has happened to many people that now growing to an adult becomes a mentally disturbed adult. They might be doing well in the real life, but emotionally, they are not all right. Mentally, they have issues, but they look good. They are doctors, they are lawyers, they are solicitors, but they are not. They don't have emotional healthy with themselves, or even the relationship between them and their parent can be really awkward. Imagine that person that has been a doctor just because daddy or mommy wants him to be a doctor. I've seen a scenario as well of someone that that studied law and then say, daddy, this is for you, and then went and studied IT. This person I know one-to-one, and it's the same scenario. How can we solve this problem? The only way to solve it is to make a child to have relationship with a child.
Relationship.
When we have a relationship with our child, and relationship in the sense of you have communication time, you give a child attention, you are approachable, you are accessible. When a child bring in homework, you are there to support them. You know if this child is strong in maths, if this child have interest in physical education, if this child is very good in biology, You know the interest of that child. Not only that, you don't just keep on praying for children. Do you have time to play with them? Do you have a relaxed time that you get to know this child? You get to know what makes this child angry, what makes this child happy, what is the strength of this child, what is the weakness of this child. Just because you know that there's no doctor in your family and in your generation, 3-4 generations away, you now want to make sure your own child becomes a doctor. That is an abuse on its own. The positive abuse of you enforcing what you want on your child. If you cannot be, why don't you become a doctor yourself? If you really want a doctor in your family, why don't you try and study it? Why don't you try and become a doctor? Forcing a child that has come to the world just because they come through you doesn't mean you have all right to force them on your own motive and make sure they become what you want them to become. What if the child doesn't want to become it? And in a way, the person has ruined the life of that child. The child will not be happy. Imagine the 10 years of going to medical school and someone is every day thinking, I'm doing it for my dad, I'm not doing it for myself. Will that child be a happy child? How can an unhappy child grow up to be happy adult? So unhappy child become an unhappy adult. Imagine the relationship between that parent, the dad or mom, with that child while he's doing the 10 year of the medical school. Imagine the relationship. Will the child be happy when he's wasting away his life just because he wants to please daddy or he wants to please mommy? We need to really be careful. Many of our parents and their parents have done so many errors in parenting. I know that no one went to school of parenting. No one went to the school of parenting. When we are having children, we just get married, we start having children, and boom, we become a parent. But there are so many errors that we have committed, that our parents committed on our life, that we are managing the emotional problem now. That we are struggling. We don't want to hate our parents. We want to try and do what Bible says. Honor your father and mother so that your days may be long. But believe you me, many of us, while we are honoring them, it is only because Bible commanded us. If we are given a choice, many of us will cut off our parents because of one thing they have done or the other that have negative impact in our life now. I'm not saying our parents didn't do well. They have disciplined us. The discipline has helped our life to shape. It has shaped our life to become a well-nurtured, beautiful adult. Thank God for that. But what of the other emotional problem? What of the other mental problem? What of the other things that some people have gone through in their childhood and they still have the problem now in their adult age? Many people cannot keep marriage just because of the relationship they have with their father or mother. Many people cannot have good friendship. They cannot have good confidence or good people because someone break down trust along the line when they are young. All these things, they have impact in the adulthood. That's why developmental psychology have been careful to do all this study with so many children. And they find out that in the time of growing is the time that we can invest time, quality time with our children, listening to them, helping them to grow, ensuring that in their growing stages, it is a well-nurtured one. To be happy when they are growing, emotional happiness, good emotional health of the person that have view, that giving attention, that have voice, that can share their ideas, so they know that they belong to that society. They belong to that family. It's of no point when you are cutting a child off. You don't allow them to speak when they are young. When they now grow, you now say, "Oh, you are because you are now rich. You are the leader of our family." The child will be thinking, "When did I just become the leader suddenly? Me that have no voice. It's only your voice and daddy's voice that I always hear here. Mommy's voice, daddy's voice. That's it. How can I suddenly be the one that have a voice now?" So we should be careful to look back and go and correct so many things that has gone wrong, even in our own generation.
Yes, ma'am.
Children should have voice in the home. They are part of that family. The food that they want to eat, we can't just force any food on them. everybody is eating this food. Yes, I know economically it might not be practicable, but if you do shopping according to what people like, it will still be cheap because you buy the cheap of everything everybody like, and everybody will be happy. But just because you are the mommy or daddy and you just say, yes, we're all eating this, it can bring emotional stress. And it can impact. I know a child that says that because my mommy was forcing me to eat custard, I will never eat custard in my life. Now that I'm grown and I can have a choice, I will never eat yogurt. I will never eat custard. I will never eat vegetable because someone forced me. So everything we do when a child is growing, especially their formative years, the first 5 years is when they develop and they're learning a lot of things. After that, it's a time of building on top of what they have learned from age 5. So what we do to them at that time, age 2, you think he doesn't have voice, you want to force something. By the time you go to age 5, that person is dealing with a very strong deterrent child that's ready to argue back because he doesn't have a voice. So that's why it is important to communicate with a child. If we know that through communication we cannot get what their interest is, we can spend time to play with them. We can spend time to have time to see how they play around and just calm down from our being too busy and be around the home when they are playing and see what they play with, see what they are interested in. Take time to have holiday with them. Have a chat. During our communication, we will hear their choice. We will hear their interest. We will hear what they like, what they don't like. And then from there, we can build up and we can even ask, what would you like to be? Sometimes they know it at their young age. Sometimes they don't have a clue. But if we are related to our children and we communicate ongoing, I'm sure there will be a time that the child will say, Daddy, I like singing. No matter how much we have think that our children should be doctor, lawyer, because in Nigeria, everybody should be doctor. Everybody should be lawyer. Everybody should be scientist. Everybody should be all these big names. But who is going to be a singer, a musician, to entertain us when everybody is a lawyer? Who is going to be an artist in the art college to teach the next generation of artists? There are so many errors, and it has ruined relationships of parent and childhood. And many people have lost their enjoyment of childhood, that all they can remember in their childhood, if you put the question out, what can you remember from your childhood? You will hear the negative and the positive impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for that. That's a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Ma, for doing justice to that question. Though I still have one more question to ask you on that, but I have a question for Pastor Tayo. I don't know if you are still there, Pastor Tayo.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much. I should have let you know your question before Mommy answered that question. So I'll just give you the question because I know you definitely have an answer for that question. It's strictly on your discipline. Now, I want us to talk about abuse right now, abuse. I think I was having that conversation with Mommy when I was, having the discussion about this program we had. Now, you see, how can we dictate if a child has been abused? How can we really dictate? Because now let me give you this a breakdown. Do you know that there are some adults that most of the things they are going through in their adulthood are things that have happened to them in the past when they were very young? And I've seen some people coming out to give some testimony. Like today, I was watching one video by one Ghanaian pastor, Pastor Brian, when she was talking about how she was raped at the age of 8 years old by a reverend father. And also she was raped at 13 years old again. But she was unable to tell anyone until she became an adult. Thank God that she has been healed. She has been healed up, understand, she had a healing. But let's look at all the damages that has happened. How can we know as a parent, as a brother, or as a pastor, or whoever who you be, understand? How can you dictate if a child has been abused, and how can we help them out? Or what are the things that we can do to help a child who has been abused to voice out Not that they will now, when they become an adult, before you start knowing that. So you went through this, and what are the impact of parents when it comes to child abuse? You understand? Because if a child has been abused, you see some parents, the next thing they will do, they will disown the child. You understand? The next thing, I've seen some parents in which the child was abused, she became pregnant, and the next thing that they especially in Christian family, understand, this spirituality, the next thing they will do, they disown the child. The next thing they do, they throw away the child. Understand? Please tell us, how can we identify if a child has been abused, number one, and number two, what is the right thing a parent can do, God forbid, if they find their child being abused, either as a male or as a female? Over to you, Pastor Tayo.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, we're going to take it from the last response we had. Now we're talking about parent-children communication. It starts from there. I mean, there should not be any form of gap between a parent and a child. It's a pity the kind of parents we have now are not the ones that are ready for parenting. No, they don't want to parent. They just want to enjoy their own life. Now, there should not be any gap between the child and the parent, such that when anything happens to the child, they can easily be your first go-to person. So every parent should rent a space in the head and in the heart of their children. I think that again. Every parent should rent a full space in the head and in the heart of their children, so that they can know what is happening in their life. So something we call adverse childhood experiences. ACEs. These are things that children go through during their childhood. And when they grow up, it starts, there's a flashback and they start behaving in the same way. 90% of abusers we have today, or a good number, because I don't have statistics to back that up. So a very large number of people that are abused today were abused during their childhood. And they did not get alternative care, which we call response. Nobody took them through rehabilitation, counseling, psychotherapy. They were not responded, so they didn't get alternative care. So that means whatever happened to them became part of them. And when they grew up, they felt that was a template. So they continued to do that. So if I was really abused cheaply when I was growing young and nobody said anything about it, nobody knows, that means I have the permission of the right to do the same thing to another person because that was done to me. So I don't see anything bad in that. So it all boils down to putting our children through, for sexual abuse now, sex education. Now, some parents feel sex education exposes them to knowing what they don't want. If you don't teach them, another person will teach. In fact, online will teach them and also give them practical. So you better be the first person taking your child through sex education. Call the body parts the name for which they have. Please don't use something, or you use as in, don't give it alternative. They have names. If you're taking your child through sex education, please call it the name it is, so that they can be able to report and say exactly what they went through when they face abuses from anybody. So, if they know all this part, they can be able to tell you exactly what they're going through. There should not be any gap between the parents and their children. Now, if a parent fails that responsibility in our schools, I keep saying schools because children spend most time in their schools. They fall into the school. What is the capacity of the school to also respond to such things? Do they have a structure? Do they have a child protection system? I talked about policy earlier that can help these children to understand what they are going through. Now, when you take some children and then they repeat whatever they went through during childhood. We say something about social justice for children. They feel, you have offended, we should take you to prison. That you need to trace what happened to that child. Most of the rapists we have today, or rape apologists. Some of them don't even know what they're doing. They don't have access to information for them to know that and then some are mentally unstable. You know what I mean? You don't see a child and a child is looking like an adult to you, and you felt, when I saw the child seems to me like an adult, and I did what I did. So some people need immediate response. Not only children need immediate response, some adults as well need immediate response. Now, if you want to figure out if a child has been abused, if you have a fantastic relationship with your child, they will tell you. You would have built capacity. And if you have rented it, they would have built capacity that I tell my mom everything. I give myself as an example. Anything that happens to my daughter, she's going to tell me. She will get back home and let me know exactly without editing it. So children should freely talk to their parents without editing. If your child is talking to you and the child is editing, you don't have full space in the head and in the right and in the heart of that child. So they should not edit whatever they are doing with the parents, because if they have trusted their parents enough to protect them, they will talk freely. So they will themselves report what they have gone through. And so another means of identification is, if they don't report, you have to, you know the countenance and the gesture of your child. If a child that is normally a happy child suddenly becomes numb, the child is not talking, the child is withdrawn, the child don't want to go to school. There's some parents that get me really annoyed. A child is telling you, I don't want to go to my neighbor's house. And you're saying, no, I have to go to my work. I have to go to my office. I need to take you to this neighbor's place because I believe my neighbor will be the one to fill in the gap of, taking care of you. And the child saying, no, I don't want to go. That's a very strong sign. And it's an indicator. We call some things early warning signs. The child is automatically telling you that I am not safe or I'm not free with this person. And then as a parent that's so absent, you're concerned about your work, and you feel no. The person likes you. And I still tell people, no, it's not everybody you call your uncle. We have to get to that level. You have to call you Mr. Your name is Mr. So, and so, because if a child calls somebody uncle, the child feels my uncle is my father or my mother's younger brother who should protect me. But
yes.
Different uncles, and then they wonder how many uncles they have. They feel uncles are people to protect them. And then this uncle you have introduced, this is Uncle so. Let them know this is Mr. And you can't trust Mr. 100%. Uncle should be able to be trusted, but unfortunately, we can't even trust some uncles. So that is why we strike the balance that you don't even necessarily have to say, where we find ourselves in the society today, our moral values, our culture has really broken down such that a girl child might not even be free to sit on the lap of the uncle, because you don't know what the uncle is doing on the lap of the child. Is doing to the child while lapping that child. So, everything has gone so wrong because parents failed to fulfill their own responsibility of prevention. So they are giving us the worry of response. So if everybody in the society cannot see children as children whom they are and have good minds towards them, we wouldn't be bothering about the issue of abuse today. But unfortunately, we now have a new trend: children abusing children.
Yes.
And talking about parenting too, we have children are the ones parenting today. We have 16, 17, 18 years parents. What exactly can they bring to the table? How will those ones protect a child who should develop, who should survive? They will go ahead and re-traumatize that child, because we have young parents who are not experienced. So we have children abusing children because of the things adults handed over to them. As an adult, while we were growing up, if you're watching a movie and then they're showing some parts, the moral in you will let you know that you stand up and excuse yourself without being told.
Yeah.
In fact, you will close your eyes and you look to the other side or block your ears. You will just activate that mode automatically. But today, children will conveniently sit with adults and be telling you, I've watched this movie before, alone. What are we talking about? They put PG there for a reason. Now, if you're watching something with your child and the child, I've watched this before. Now imagine the child watching that part alone without any supervision. Without guidance. Just imagine how much of things the child would have learned. So parents need to be alive in parenting. There are so many abuses, so many vices tucked into cartoon today. So cartoon is no longer safe for children. Aside the fact that online, some parents will feel, let me gag my child, they're not going out, they're always indoor. When they have opportunity to step out, they overbehave, they misbehave.
Yeah.
And then everything they don't know, at the touch of Android phone, they will get all the information they need. So sometimes if you think, I don't want to give my children sex education, another person will teach them and also practicalize it. So parents, we need to be fully alive to ensure that we are so close to our children such that if they are abused, they can tell us. Teachers are sensitive to the children. You're not just teaching, they are teaching them education. Education is what you even, education is academics is what you teach yourself, what they teach you. Education is what you teach yourself daily. You're upgrading your knowledge. So teachers need to know that children are not just in school to sit down and say yes. And I mean, every aspect of their life needs to be taken care of. So, everybody, and once you know that this is an abuse, there's nothing like, I don't know, once you know that whatever I'm doing, you cannot really do it, or whatever you have done to a child or you want to do to a child, you cannot publicly come out that I did this. That thing is abuse.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I've really, my book are really, it's already full over here because I've had something educative, and I believe that everyone, they are really enjoying this section at the moment because it's a very sensitive topic we are dealing with at the moment. So please, if you are still with us, please kindly help us share this program, tag your friends. That's the only thing I'm asking from you. Please kindly tag your friends, bring in people, let people come and learn from the mouth of the experienced people who are experts in this field. Mommy, I want you to help us with this particular question. And Mommy, if you have any contribution towards,
I just want to contribute a little.
All right, thank you so much, man.
Yes, what I would like to contribute is parents must be, and Sister has talked about it, that we must be alive in parenting. We should know the signs of a difference in our child. If a child is withdrawn, if a child is moody, if a child starts to stay so long on the computer that it doesn't stay there before, if a child starts to not eat again, they become anorexia. If the child's life totally change, we know our child. We should take time to support that child and know what is going on. They might be going through abuse. They might be going through maybe puberty in their body, maybe something is wrong with them biologically. We need to slow down a little bit and give time and attention to our children. That's one. The second one that has been a long time problem for maybe generations of our generation, or I don't know if generations down the line have gone through it, is when someone abuses a child in the home and that child tells the parent is going to blame the child.
Yes.
The parent is going to think of their position, of their name in society, and they're going to tell the child that it's a taboo. You cannot say Uncle so touch you so place. You cannot say Uncle so done what you have told me to you. So that child will now be scolded, and they will even tell the uncle will show hatred to the child, and the child will be in serious trouble. And so every person or people that have been abused decide to close their mouth and then suffer in silence and have a mental torment through their growing, through their adulthood. And many of them have now become a very toxic parent that's repeating the same of not listening to their children because already they are still nursing the pain of childhood. And some are repeating it by having a marriage breakdown because they can never trust their husband. They can never trust their wife because someone has abused them down the line, they think everybody is going to abuse. Someone that has given them emotional problem, maybe they are always, when they want to speak, they shut them off. They never have a voice in their home. Now they get married. How can they have a voice in that marriage? They can keep quiet and be going through abuse, thinking that they don't have a voice. They can just be suffering. So what happened in childhood can go all the way to adulthood. That's why we now, as parents, as a teacher, I'm a teacher, and sister in wherever she works, wherever we work, and all the people that's watching this, wherever we are positioned, to fight for children, to give children voice, to make sure that children of our time doesn't go through what we, our generation and generation down the line, have gone through in our childhood. Because many of it, they are very deep, they are very negative, that cannot be repeated. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Ma, for that contribution. So before now, let's now dive into this. Now, I'm going to give, there's a question somebody sent to me right now. So I'm going to, but before I read the question, I think Mommy Wemi Agwaye, she's online with us, and she made a comment which I would love to read. She said, parents sometimes need to heal their own childhood wounds in order to be available for their children. It takes collective effort. So definitely, some of the things that affect parenting sometimes in relative to child development and protection are traceable back to what the parent also have passed through. So sometimes the parent need to be healed. You need to heal yourself first so that you can able to have proper parenting over your children. Now, I want us to, I know, Mommy, I know you, in one way or the other, you have passed through what I'm about to talk about, because I think we had this in our discussion. And I know Sister Taya also, we are both in the same generation. And I want us to talk about this, understand? And I really want to talk about this. So Mommy will come in the aspect of a parent. And Sister Taya, I want you to come in the aspect of, let's assume, understand, let's go down the line when we are still under our parents, understand? And I don't know, maybe you experienced it, or maybe if I had it from either from the colleagues or friends. Now, it's issue of fear and anxiety of parents. Now, you know, some how can parents adjust, understand, or how would they know if a child is under anxiety and fear of parenting? And what is because I know Sister Taya was talking about discipline. You know, the Bible says in the book of Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15, he said, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. So I want us to talk about, you know, what is the impact of discipline? You know, if it is not important, the Bible will not put it there. And Stataya was saying something about discipline is also part of protection. You understand? So, and let us talk. Our parents actually using discipline in the wrong way, which actually affecting child development mentally. Because you see some child, when they see their father coming, they are running away. That's number one. Number two, when they see their mom, they cannot speak. They cannot even share their experience in school to their mom. That's number two. Number three, when it comes to results, you know, growing up, even if you fail, understand, if you fail, you cannot come home and say, this is my result. You understand? And what can we do as a parent in the dispensation? Even though, you know, growing up, we've been to so many seminars, and they will tell us that failure is part of the process. Failure is part of process to success. You understand? It is now I'm hearing it. But when we are growing up, you dare not say failure is part of the process. Understand? You will hear beating. You understand? Is beating the right thing when a child fails? Understand? What are the right ingredients that the parents need or require to encourage a child, even though if they fail? Understand? Because I know a child who fears the parents, and along the line he failed, it's definitely going to affect the mental health. Understand? Then, you know, and a child that you are beating every day, at the end of the day, it will become a rogue. It will become something that the child is supposed not to become. So we know that there's a positive impact of discipline, and there's a place of failure also. So even along the, how can we, I want you to help me to dissect that area as a mother, and on the other side, Sister Tayo. So what are the impact of parenting in fear and anxiety, failure, and how can we really manage that perspective for them to have a good mental state? So maybe I should allow I should allow mommy. I think it was mommy who hence speaking right now.
I've just finished speaking here.
Okay, all right. So Sister Tayo, please, can you help us on that area in your own perspective when it comes to fear, anxiety, and failure with discipline? So how can we manage those 4 key things together for our children to be mentally stable?
Okay, children have very good qualities, and I'm going to mention, out of all the good qualities, 2 of them, they're actually 3, but I can only remember 2 right now.
Okay.
Children are very
fearless.
And they are curious.
Fearless
in the sense that they ask lots and lots of questions. Mommy, I want to know. Daddy, I want to know. I want to know this, I want to know that. And then a parent who is for the good of the child will create time, even if you don't have all the time to respond to those questions at that time. You create time to respond to the questions of your children. You create time to respond. So they are fearless. So they want to ask you lots of questions, and they're curious. They want to know what they do not know. Now, talking about fear and anxiety, while we were growing up, everybody knows that fathers are to be feared, whether you like it or not. Mothers are closer to the children. They can help you to cool off your father's beating if you have just been scolded. Now, discipline or beating, let me say beating, only subdues a child. Beating subdues a child. And that does not mean that that child will not repeat what you have just scolded him or her for. Now, it's very easy to beat a child. Parents don't want to go through the stress of explaining, mentoring, tutoring, or parenting a child through the journey of being a good child. But if the child offends in any way, you're ready to beat, because beating is very fast to do. In 2 minutes, you have corrected, you have done brain reset with beating. But you need time to walk your children through that childhood journey. Imagine a parent walking with a child. Normally, if you're going with your child, you hold that. If you're taking a stroll or a walk with your child, you should hold the hands of that child, that you're together, on the same page. If the child is ahead of you and the child eats, a stone or his leg, or a leg on a stone, and then the only thing for you to beat as a parent is, didn't you see? You are supposed to even care for that child, but the next thing you are doing is beating the child for falling. What was your role as a parent if not to hold that child and you are taking that walk together? Parents blame children for their own irresponsibility today, and it should not be. What you fail to do, and then the children now act in a particular way, then you start beating them for what we should have scolded you as a parent for. Those are the things we see today. So when we were growing up, we had supportive parents who will then talk you through the journey. We talked about, taking career for children earlier. If there's something we call unschooling, when parents or teacher will study the child and their ability, as in you are the one studying your students, not your student listening to you. So as parents, you take them through that journey of studying them, and then you engage them. Discussion, dialogue is not authority. Authority is a tool in the hand of an oppressor. If you use authority for the child, when the child needs values to represent you well, you didn't develop values. You were only inculcating beating. And then they become violent. Beating helps a child to be much more violent. So if you're using the tool of authority all the time, it is not a tool that can really be used. They need value. And to build values, you need time. So anxiety, you're worried for your child. Would this child turn better? Would this child be a good person? Would this child, be a good family representatives, how much of values did you impact into that child when the child was growing up? How much of time did you give that child? How much of availability did you render into your child? What did you do for the child when they needed you more? So, fear and anxiety, they are the things that are most likely things parents failed to do. And you're afraid of what you did not. How can you be afraid of what you didn't do? If you don't impact or if you don't deposit that value, it's not auto, except the child finds favor and moves with people that can also, some parents are the ones parenting, their children's friends. So some people will tell you, I didn't learn that from home, I got it from so mother's friend. And so we say thank you to the people that are parenting when parents fail their responsibility. We have people like that. And that's why we keep saying everybody should be a stakeholder. So if you're scared or you have anxiety, discipline is good. Like I said earlier, there are several ways of discipline aside beating. You can deprive the children of some things. They'll feel it. You can tell the child, oh, I trusted you so much, but you disappointed me today. No child wants to hear that the parents said they're disappointed in it. Well, no matter how violent the child is, they'll feel it that, oh, mommy trusted me and I betrayed that trust. They want to have you. They want to have you. They want to have your word. They want to have your yes. They want to have your evaluation. They want to see that you're giving them a pass at every point in life. That's the kind of parenting we have now. In our olden days, I don't think people are doing that no more. And it's a pity. That is why we have so many dysfunctional children right now, because those disciplines are no longer there. I don't support beating, but sometimes scolding is very necessary because children can misuse opportunity of, oh, mom won't scold me. It won't be more than, they misuse such opportunities sometimes. So it is good to scold them and scold them to ensure that scolding also deposits a particular value into them. I don't know if I've answered the question. I only make
I understand. Yeah, you have done good justice to the question already. So, mommy, I don't know if you have contribution on that question. Please, can you do that in 2 minutes so that, because I have a particular question in which I want you to answer for us, and before Sister Tayo, before I give the next question to Sister Tayo, do you have any contribution based on that fear and anxiety? Yeah.
Just a little. Yes. Fear and anxiety. It is a dysfunctional thing in the family that causes children to fear their parents and to have anxiety. Sister has really dealt with it, that children are blank plate. When you bring children into the home, the values you input in them, the attention you give to answer their questions, the time you give to be able to relate with them, the relationship that's going on in that home that make the home to be a paradise, a joyous home that everybody have voice, everybody can speak, everybody can ask questions. Mommy is accessible, daddy is accessible. It makes the home to become somewhere that people run to when they have problem. They're thinking of getting home to tell mommy and daddy. And when they want to tell mommy and daddy, it's because they trust that mommy and daddy, and they know that mommy and daddy are going to solve this problem. So they have that, they can lean on mommy and daddy. They can lean on the advice of mommy and daddy. So no outsider will be their best pal than their mommy and daddy. Why? Because that trust, that value has been built in that home. If the value is not there, that you must not speak when daddy is speaking. Oh, mommy doesn't have time. She just wants you to say one word because she's too tired. If we just shut our children up, all they will have is fear and anxiety. They'll be fearing daddy that you better choose your words, otherwise you get slapped. Which many of us live in. What good did that do to us? We just have fear of them. It doesn't mean that we respect them, even though we have to respect by force. That's fear. It should not be fear. And Bible says there is no love in fear. Love must be love. Love that have fear is not good love. So that's that one. Anxiety is only because of the child doesn't know what will come next. So if we have built a home of trust, a home of openness, a home of accessibility, like Sister has explained, if that has been the value of that home, there will be no fear, even though we will still respect our parents. We still fear them in the fear of respect, of reference. And there was a question there about if a parent have had fear and anxiety, and because of their own failure, they are now using it on their own children. What can the parents do? That was one question. The parents can have open communication with their children. Listen, my parents have done this to me, and my childhood was really bitter. I don't want to transfer that to you. You can be open with your children that in this area, I did not enjoy it. So I may not know how to handle it. I am so sorry if I fail you in this area. It's only because I can only give what I have. But this thing that I should give you, I don't have it. I didn't have relationship with my parents. I didn't have good this. I didn't have good. We can be open. It is because we have the ego that we want to try and be high up there and our children down here, is children versus adults, it makes things so complicated that children will just build the bridge. The bridge is there, everybody in their own area. Children hide in their room, parents are in their room. It's children versus adults. No, we need to break down that barrier and be open to our children. If we need to say sorry, we should say sorry. And then the children can be able to now freely speak with us and say, okay, mommy and daddy doesn't know how to do this thing, but at least we'll tell them anyway and we'll solve it together. Let's be plain.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. I really appreciate you for that contribution. Now, this question I'm about to ask, I think is going to, there's a lot of people actually involved in this part of question I want to ask, and somebody just popped into my inbox right now, and I want you to help us to do good justice to this question. So, Sister Tayo, you're going to talk on the aspect of a child, understand? And Mommy will talk from the aspect of a parent, you understand? Now, the question is the place of forgiveness. Now, the place of forgiveness, the place of healing. Now, because today has to do with children and their mental health. Now, a child, there are some children, some are still growing up, some are already growing up, and they are still blaming their parents for some of the errors that they have caused that affected their life in one way or the other. And there are some children, as I'm talking to you, they have made a vow that they will never visit their parent again. Some have said they will never call their parent again. Some have already said they have no relationship to do with their parent again. And these are bound to some of the errors that has happened, maybe bad parenting, maybe some decision, maybe you understand what I'm talking about. Now, how can a parent, understand, find forgiveness from their children in whom they knew that they are the cause of the damage that happened to that children? You understand? How can a parent, understand, find forgiveness? What are the things that they can do to make sure that they repair the damage that has been done? You understand what I'm saying, Mommy? And as a child, how can a child find it in the best way to forgive his parent? How can both of them come back and find solution to some of the damage that has happened in the course of their life? So I don't really know how you can help me come in that perspective. Maybe I would like Sister Tayo to speak first on that. Then Mommy will now speak. You can actually talk on both ends if you can contribute on both ends, from the parent perspective and from the children perspective. When the deed is already done, we're talking about children that have been affected already, and they've already have this. It has affected their mental health already, which has led to some decision. You understand, that has damaged some relationship between the father, or maybe from the parent and the child. So what are the things that they can do to repair it? You understand? What can they do to repair that situation? So I want Sister Tayo to talk first, then Mommy talk first, then we move to the next question, then we'll move on again. So Sister Tayo, can you help us in that perspective?
All right, thank you. Your question is one of the reasons is is a question that makes me sometimes feel like I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. Maybe I shouldn't do this profession. Because sincerely, it is very, very difficult to forgive and forget, forgive and forget about whatever your parents that was absent in your life did to you. Or the parents that intentionally makes you an endangered species, or intentionally leaves you behind to pursue what have you. I'm going to give examples right now because, okay, before I give that example, you need God. God, absolutely, to forgive. Absolutely. Because without God, you cannot really, because, I mean, there are some deep-rooted hatred that you, as long as, at the mention of the name of maybe your mother or your father, not even them, the name they bear, flashback. There is a flashback which gives you post-traumatic stress disorder that we call PTSD. It comes back. So you need to find healing, first of all, in God, because He can help you to heal. Then you need to go for counseling. We have psychologists that will take you through that journey. It is very, very difficult. Imagine a parent, a dad, or a mom that leaves you when you need them and pursues whatever selfish interest they have. We have some of them. They tell you, oh, my children, you're so worthless. I don't need you no more. I'm going after my newfound love. I mean, how can a parent? You leave 4 children with their mom, or you leave 4 of them with their dad, and you go and test new waters. Who does that? And then you're totally absent from childhood. The children now grows old, and then you were not there. You didn't contribute nothing, and then you now want to claim relationship. Even for me, my brother is very, very difficult. But with the help of God, we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. But it is not automatic, and you cannot get all the forgiveness immediately. It is a gradual process. Because everything a child went through, they're going to remember, especially when you were not there for them, especially when you intentionally offend them. Forgiveness is very, very difficult, but because of God, because you want to make it to the kingdom, because you don't want such things to debar you from making it to the kingdom, then you have to pick up forgiveness. But whoever is the offender's parents, don't expect maximum acceptance. I mean, there's going to be conditions. That acceptance is going to be edited because blood runs through our veins, irrespective of the fact that we're Christians, born again Christians, or we have the mind of Christ, or we have God. Blood runs through our veins. So the best for me is prevention. Do for others what you want them to for you. Before you offend me, please put me in your shoes. Are you going to take that? If I do that, so for me, I preach prevention because I told you response is very, very expensive. So, and that place of response is the place of forgiveness. To forgive is very, very. I have some group of persons, I have as friends lately. They told me the things they went through in their adulthood, and you can almost tell them not to forgive, especially their father. I'm not being sentimental about this. Those were the aspects I heard. When I heard those things, it takes God for them, to forgive. So please, as parents, the best thing you can do for us children is be there for us. Please, let's not get to the level of pushing us to, forgive you aggressively or by force, because when you hurt people, it goes a long way. They don't forget, children don't forget. They know who was there for them when they were growing up. They know who was there during their teenage, season. They know who was there for them in their youthful age. So the best thing is, please don't accept with due respect to them, the ones that passed away. Your advice will call some people okualai. Don't be a dead parent when you are alive. Wake up to your responsibility. And if you know that you're not ready for parenting, don't bother getting married. This thing is not like force. Don't bother to get yourself into parenting. We have lots of children that they didn't beg to come to life. You bring them forth and you now start forgive them for yourself, because if you don't forgive them, you will repeat that cycle. And you will almost do the same thing for your child or to another child out there. So for your own mental stability, friends, parents, whatever you went through, you really have to forgive. I mean, speak it out, discuss it with your parents. These are the things you did. Why did you do that? You just be getting sorry. And as parents, please be submissive enough to say sorry. I mean, to accept your fault when we put it forth to you. If we tell you this is what you did, some people don't accept their fault. Their parents, they knew that they totally neglected and abandoned their children, and they'll still be forming, but I'm your father, forget it. I mean, when a child is above 18, they have authority on their own. So please be cooperative enough to submit and accept your fault, discuss about it, pray about it, and move on. Not easy, but it's doable.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's hear from the perspective of a mom. Mommy? All right. So let's hear from your own side, ma.
I believe culture have part to play
Mm.
in the problem of parenting that our parents go through with us, that bring, even though they thought they are loving, they are trying to love us by discipline really harshly. Some discipline you can never forget. I think even I can remember some of the things, like my dad was really passionate about me. He would spend time, he was, I would sit me down, talk about, but the discipline I saw that he gave out, I am afraid already. I cannot even go near doing the wrong thing. So because I can see what's happening around me. So those discipline may become like something that some people dread. And damage might have been done to people that maybe the discipline was too harsh. Maybe abandonment, maybe polygamy, that there are more than one mothers, and all the parents end up taking care of their own children. And so these children are abandoned or partly abandoned. They didn't enjoy their father, or walk away father, not at home father, that might cause all the pain to children. Once it's happened, it has happened. The next step is for the parent to humble themselves and accept what the child has said. There's no need to try and put ego. There's no need to try and say, our culture said the older one, the younger one have to say sorry to your older one. It doesn't matter at this stage, because the child has become a mother herself. The child has become a father himself. The child is now a parent too. So they have their own responsibility. They don't even need to come and, engage with that person anymore. But because of forgiveness, for prayers to be answered, because of moving on in life, both of us, both the parents and the child, have to find a way to let it be gone. So if the children are complaining, this is what happened, even if you don't see it that way because of culture, I think parents have to humble themselves and accept and be able to mend their ways with their children by accepting that I am at fault. I am so sorry. And then move on. Both parts need to go to God. Pray about it. Ask God to help. Even the person that has harmed someone need to forgive themselves too. That you have done this evil to someone and the person is really not happy. The person needs to go to God and accept that the person I commit error will forgive me, and I forgive myself. We need to forgive ourselves. The children need to forgive themselves. The person that committed error need to say sorry, genuine sorry. Do not expect a total, everything will go straight back to normal since say sorry. It's gradual, like sister said. It's a journey. Once the person is working with the other one, bit by bit, things will start to get to normal. It might not get to full normal. We are all normal human beings. So we just have to accept that, okay, error has been committed. This is the new normal. We can say that and work with that. And then the family will come back to normal, because it is really crucial for the family to get back to normal. And because of God, that sister has said, because of eternal life, that we have Christ, that we are going back to heaven, and no grudging there, no unforgiveness there. The parents have to mend their ways. The children have to mend their ways, go to God, come back to each other, forgive each other, say sorry where it needs to be said, and then move together on, so that the next generation of our children's children will not have this to us. God help us.
Thank you so much. Amen. Thank you so much for that. I believe people are being blessed, and I believe many who are still going to watch this video after this broadcast will also be blessed, because even listening, even hosting this program and listening, I'm finding some healing for myself. You know, everybody have their childhood. We have all our childhood, and we know our parents in one way or the other make some mistakes, you know, looking after us growing up. Now, before I ask the last question, before we end this show, and I want everyone who is watching this video right now, who is watching this live broadcast, to please kindly help us share this video. That's the best thing you can do for us at the moment. Please share this video to your friends and family, and please tag these videos to young people also. Let them watch this broadcast. We want them to be encouraged. I want them to have a sense of thought, and also to know that they are part of us. And if there's one of the key things I have head on to in this evening program, is that we should try and give our children a voice. And also we should maintain discipline them in the best way that will help them to be properly nurtured. So before we end this broadcast this evening, this is going to be the last question, and I still want Mommy and Sister Tara to contribute. So I would like to put the question first to Mommy, understand. So I want you to just tell us your perspective. How can we bring the best out of our children? You know, how can we bring the best? After we have detected their potential, we know that this is who they want to become. You know, what's the best way to bring the best out of them? And you know, and how can we make sure that the potential that have been discovered, how can we nurture it, you know, as a parent, for them to have a good mental state? So, and I want Sister Tayo also, I want you to help me to contribute on that question. How can we protect the potential of a child? You understand? You already knew that this child is on the right track. You understand? It's doing very well. How can you protect it? How can you protect a child, protect child potential? And I want Mommy to help us talk about the area of the first question I've asked about the nurturing the best interest of a child. Understand? How can we nurture the best part of a child, the potential? How can we make sure that they did not lose what they already had, that is actually making them be in the proper state? So the best nurturing. So how can we do that as a parent? And also, how can we protect the good potential of our child? So that's the last phase of the question for today. And by God's grace, I know God Almighty will heal everyone whom has found themselves in a state of abuse, neglect, or fear of childhood, or in any capacity that you might be going through some things that has affected you mentally while growing up. I pray the Lord will give you healing. So, Mommy, I want you to help us with that part. How can a parent nurture the best part of a child? How can you help your child potential, good potential you find in a child? How can you nurture it in the best capacity so that they will not deviate? And also, Sister Taya, I know you are hearing me. How can we protect that good potential of a child? So I don't want to say much about that. So over to you, Mommy, Sister Taya, so that we can round up in time. Thank you.
How can we help children to nurture their potentials?
Mm-hmm.
Parenting, that is our job. The job of every parent is to support the children from their inception through to their early age, to their adolescent, to their adulthood, even when they are married, as a grandparent, that support should be ongoing so that the trust will be there that their grandchildren too can pass that on to their grandchildren, and the grandchildren will trust the grandparents so much so that the same value that was given to the children will now be given to the grandchildren, because parenting is to be able to support children psychologically, mentally, socially, emotionally, mentally, in every area. Holistic view of the children is what we should have for our children in parenting. How can we do that? When they are growing physically at home, we're there. We have talked about that. When they need emotional support, we're there. And emotional support could be when they fail. They should know that when they fail, their parents are there for them. Failure is not the end of the bulk. It's not to put a barrier. Failure is not like, that's it, I've missed it. There's no more going ahead. Children should be aware that in life, there are times you fail. There are times you're successful. When you play a game, someone win, another one lose. If you're a loser this time, if you put more energy, if you put more time, you will be a winner next time. There should be all this knowledge for the children, so that when they are facing their adulthood, they will know that they are going into the big world where they can fail sometimes. But failure should be to go and renew their energy and come back and be able to do better. Otherwise, there's no one in life that will keep on passing, keep on excelling without any challenges, which is what is the problem now with the older generation. Because once they fail, they fall apart because they have not been trained that failure is part of life. So nurturing of children from youth, from early age, which is 0 to 5, teaching them discipline should not only be by stroking. Discipline can be withdrawing a reward. Discipline can be, if we have a conversation with our children, we normally communicate with them, we have a dialogue. Discipline should be when you change your countenance, your child knows that you're not happy. And so that child gets a message. Discipline should just be in form of, if we have relationship, a child will know that I don't want to lose this relationship with my parent. Like the statement that we used earlier on, that mommy can say, I wanted to trust you, but because of this thing you do, I don't think I can trust you. That will break a child, because that child wants approval of a parent. It wants the trust of a parent. And so that's a word of mouth. That's why emotional abuse is a very big one, because the word of mouth can damage someone for years and it will stay there. People kill themselves because of someone saying something to them. So even with our words, we can scold them by speaking gently, positively, and saying, I don't want you to disappoint me. I trust you so much. Let's do it this way, that way, and then we can get there. If you do it the other way around, it will be negative, and I don't want you to be negative. In nurturing, in supporting, in talking to good communication, it takes time. I explain. It is the time that we don't have to invest in our children. There's no microwave parenting. It cannot happen. If we are too busy, if we are too engaged, if we just don't have the time, we cannot get the same results. In 20 years' time, we now want to come back to have a well-nurtured adult. If we don't put investment there, we cannot get that result. So nurturing at every age, when things break down, from age 12 to 19, children go through their teenage challenges. We should still be there for them. When they are misbehaving, when they are testing water, when they are trying to have peer pressure, when things go wrong, if a child is abused, we should not throw that child away. What type of punishment is that? A child has just been abused. The child is going through mental problem, emotional problem, disgrace, shame. The only support he has is the home. And that home, throw that child away. What do we expect the child to do? Suicide is the next thing.
Yes.
So that's why home should not fail. The problem in the community is home failing, parents failing their responsibility. Charity begins at home. if we do our job properly as parents, to know that children did not ask to be born. Once we born them, we need, if we don't have the capability, Bible says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. If we are failing, go to God, ask liberally, He will give us wisdom. The book of James said that. So we need to ask God to fill us with everything we need to look after these children in our care, because they are nations. One child is a nation.
Mm.
And if we miss it in one child, we have missed a whole nation.
Mm.
And imagine what happened in 20 years' time with that child, which is why England is full of young children that start themselves. Something happened 20 years ago that is bringing problem 20 years after. Where did we get it wrong? Parenting is a process from conception through to early age, to the teenage age, to young adults, adulthood. Even when they are mature adults, we're still there as unseen backing for them, that they can always phone and say, Mom, what should I do? My marriage is going through this. Dad, what should I do? My spouse is saying this to me. We should be the background help. If we have a good relationship when they are with us, there will be an open door between us and them till we pass away. So it will be a continuous relationship. It will be a continuous nurturing. Nurturing doesn't stop at any age. It goes all through life. I mean, I still say, if I have my parents here, my mom and my dad, I know the part they will play, even at this age. Because I will continually speak with them and ask for advice and have a chat and have a relationship of just a joyous talking, just to talk. This is because we have good relationship. But what if there's none? I will not even miss their departure. So parents, I am just appealing so that we don't bring more children with pain, with mental disorder, with emotional breakdown, that they become an adult that's now struggling to even connect with their parents. May the Lord help us in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, man. So, Sister Tayo, are you there? Please, can you help us with the questions so that we can round up now? Sister Tayo, are you still there?
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So
yeah. So thank you for that contribution. She has said a lot. I just had a few. So yeah, in summary, supporting your child's potential is in stages. The same support you give them when they are an adolescent adult is not the same support you give them while growing up, because you have to do age-appropriate support, age-appropriate protection. So, and parenting is forever. I mean, as old as I am, my mom can still scold me and I'm going to take dressing even while in my husband's house. That is part of parenting. She's not going to force me, but I know the values that is established and accepted and allowed in my house or in my family, and I don't want to do less of that. It won't be that my family name got spoiled because of me. That is how much a parent should have raised and built their children, such that when you are not there, they sustain family values. So building your children's potential, communication does a very effective, in fact, not even communication, effective communication plays a large and a very big role back to back. So you are not absent. I used to tell people, if anything happens to your child and the child doesn't tell you and the child finds solace in an outsider, that's a big problem. I mean, you should be the first go-to person. So effective communication, then give them God, give them Christ, give them the Bible. It will develop them. God will see them through. I'm a faith-based person, and everything about me is God, So give them God. God can direct them and help them to build that potential. Then don't compare them to others. Don't compare your siblings. I mean, I'm different from my siblings. Everybody is different, but everybody is unique. If your child has something that you don't like, you should call it the child's uniqueness, not challenge or problem. I mean, use positive words for negative things to encourage them. So do not compare them with, they come back with their results and you'll be like, oh, but the son of so-so person had this. Why didn't you have this? I mean, now why? How much of support did you give that child when that was going through? So don't compare your children to others. And let your children know that being second is not bad. Everybody, I mean, we only have one president in Nigeria as we speak. Everybody cannot be president. Everybody cannot be number one. Number two is not bad. But, getting to, I'm not disputing any number. I'm not saying you should be the last. but 1, 2, 3 is not bad. So let them know that if you're not the first, you can be the second, and second is not bad, because some children are always after, oh, I must be the first. I'm not saying you shouldn't bring out excellence. I love excellence as well. I'm always a perfectionist. I want things to go good way, but I'm just trying to tell you that in life, sometimes you can make the second position, which is not bad, so that you won't be pursuing what is, what you might not even have the capacity to pursue. So many children these days are always suicidal because, parents are telling them that this is who you are, and they don't start seeing that's who they are right from childhood. I mean, you are pushing them ahead, or you're making them to run faster than their pace. Parents, let's slow down. Let's walk the walk with them. Let's go through this journey with them, not with condemnation. When they face challenge, be there to support them, to encourage them, to let them know that it is not the end of life. Failure is part of life. But pick up your lessons and don't let it repeat itself. If it repeats itself, then something is wrong. There is a particular lesson, or there's a particular aspect of a particular thing you did not do. Ensure you tighten every loose end and then just move ahead. So developing potentials, parents, children need money for them to develop their potential. So you have to make your money available. You won't say that, oh, if your child needs money while you are encouraging them in a particular vocation or profession or career they have picked, and then you feel, oh, it is my own. I'm not saying parents should not fulfill their purpose. It's good to be nice to yourself as well, but ensure that you still have something available for your children to help them through, because they are children, like we call them. So support them monetarily, support them with encouragement, support them with your availability, support them with communication, let them know Christ, and then give them everything they need for their potentials to be developed. And sometimes while you're developing a potential, another one is, coming up. Just ensure that you take it one at a time. You don't want to put two, 3 things and end up not even developing any. So you can take one that you're so sure of, even if another one crops up, pick one, develop it, and then let's just move ahead. Just help them to take life steadily. And if they need help, probably from other people, trusted people that can also help your children to develop their potential, register them for, this real talk, maybe online talks that can help them, capacity building, capacity development, and all that. Just give them all the support they need so that their potential can be fully developed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, today is come on. I really enjoyed today so much. First and foremost, I want to appreciate everyone who has taken their time to stay behind this wonderful program. Please, I want to appeal to you, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm still building, I'm building the space, understand? So let's do this together as a family. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pastor Paul Oyinloye, and on my Facebook page, Pastor Paul Oyinloye. Please kindly follow me and also try to like my page, and make sure you watch my videos and please share the videos also. And also, before I shut down today's program, I would like my guest to I want you to tell the audience where they can find you, either on maybe your social media handle, understand where they can find your content. Just tell them about what they really need to know about you. Maybe in 1 or 2 minutes, you can tell them about where they can find you. Then after then, I will give a closing remark. So over to Sister Tayo Mala Adebayo. Please tell people who you are and where they can find you.
Okay, thank you. I'm a child safeguarding specialist. I'm involved in talks like this. I also build relationships and family. I'm Omotayo Mala Adebayo on Facebook. I'm Omotayo Daily on Instagram. I have a non-governmental organization that God helps me to found. So we are EVAN Initiative. So we have lots of content we also put out there. So through EVAN Initiative on all platforms, we are EVAN Initiative. So we can connect, and I can actually drop my handle under the comment section now so that we can also connect as well. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Over to you, Mommy, please.
Yes, my name is Oladapo ADEOSUN. I'm a teacher by profession and evangelist in the church. I have founded so many organizations, but one that is really imminent now is women ministers. And they are called King's Army. What we do is emotional support to all women ministers, because that's another platform that there's no voice, because everyone is asking them, mommy, mommy. But no, when mommy have a problem, there is no one mommy will tell. And, and that's one area. And I do talks, so many areas of call. Where you can contact me is on my email, olivetra2@aol.com, and I'll spell that Olivetra, OLIVETRA2@aol.com. So you can email me for maybe talk or any contact. Thank you.
All right. So if you want to invite them for program, though my mommy she's based in the United Kingdom and Sister Tara is based in Nigeria. And if you want to invite Sister Tara down to anywhere in the world, I know she's ready to fly anywhere. So yeah. So if you want to invite them for program, you can actually go directly into their DMs. I believe they are available to answer you all. So thank you for staying behind to do this program together. Thank you so much. Before I leave this program, I just want to give just a single, out of everything we'll be saying, there's one thing in which I would love to say is that for your children to have a better mental health, it boils down to parent investment. Please invest in your children. Invest in your children. What you want to see depends on what you invest in your children. So if you invest good, you will reap good. If you invest neglect, you will see neglect. If you invest anxiety, you will see anxiety. If you invest fear, you will see fear. Please learn to manage how to nurture your children in the proper way of the Lord. Just like the Bible says it, that train your child in the way of the Lord. Please, the Lord will bless every one of you in the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you for staying behind. Thank you for having our back. Thank you for staying with us from the beginning to the end. I pray God Almighty will keep blessing. Please keep sharing this video and keep following us. And I pray God Almighty will be with every one of us. So in the next 2 weeks, we'll be coming on board with another series, which I believe I'm still contemplating on how we're going to do it. Understand, by God's grace, we'll be looking deeply into another kingdom topic. But in the next 2 weeks, the flyer will be out and you'll be able to see the guests that will be coming on board. Please keep supporting us with your share and comments. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, please kindly send it into my inbox, whichever one that I'm unable to treat right now. You can send it to my inbox so we can deal with it maybe when we come on the show. And also, I'm trying my best to also start doing a review section of every program that has been done. You know, I've not been saying anything. I'm just hosting the program. There will be like a 1 hour session whereby I do a review of everything that has been said during the live program. So I think maybe I will start with this, but when the review will be done, I will definitely let the audience know about it. Thank you so much for staying behind, and God bless you so much. I want to appreciate our two wonderful guests, Mommy ADEOSUN. Thank you so much for creating time to be here. If you are to look at it professionally, if you want to channel, I know you owe me like a son, but I know by God's grace we will grow to the level whereby we need to do very well. But I know we'll still do very well. And I want to appreciate you. It's more than money. It's more than what I can offer to you. But for giving us your time is very, very important to me, and I say thank you so much. And also to my wonderful sister Tayo Mala Adebayo, thank you for coming to this. I know you're a very, very busy woman, and I know what I went through before I could find you to be here. Thank you so much for giving us your time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings to the end of this show, and I hope that we're all going to have a wonderful rest by ruminating on today's topic. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Have a wonderful time. Bye.